In today's video, we're going to be going through and discussing every single side quest that's featured in the Shivering Isles DLC of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. These include all of the side quests in Crucible, Bliss, the settlements, and even the non-journal quests. Beginning in the Bliss district of New Sheoth, we have the quest titled Falling Awake. We start off by finding a strange Breton man named Amiable Fanrien, who looks to be cowering in fear all of the time. Speaking with him sounds like this.
Hello, don't mind me. I'm a little tired. Can't sleep at home, you know. The walls, they aren't safe. Don't you know? You don't, do you? Well, it's lucky you met me. Here, you've been walking around as if nothing could happen. Well, there's an idea. Why didn't I think of that? But where would I sleep? I need some place to sleep. I've seen some people sleeping out on the street, but they huddle too close to the walls. I need someplace safe. I can't just sleep anywhere. There are walls and statues and all sorts of things that can fall on me. Can't have that. Nope. But if you find me a good place to sleep, a safe place outside, I'll reward you. Oh, don't tease me. It's serious. I could die. We all could die. Please, help find a safe spot outside to sleep where the walls won't come crashing down.
Amiable, fearing the walls and every object standing upright will fall down on him, requests that we help him move from his warm, dry, secure home to sleeping out on the streets at night for his own safety. The quest points us in multiple directions. The first one is to Fimian the Wood Elf. We speak with him.
Blessings of the Mad God.
Yes? I have idea for you. But first sweet roll for Fimian. Sweet roll for Fimian. Idea for you. Sweet roll. No sweet roll for Fimian. No answer to problem.
Fimian might have some information for us on how to make Amiable's goals happen, but we need to give him a sweet roll first. Before we do that, we wander up into the Sicelum Arden Sul to our second quest marker, which leads us to another wood elf named Ungor. We speak with him.
Yes?
It's just one more way they try to get me to get all special in the head, right? Make me sleep outside and everything. I don't belong here, really. What I would do for a warm bed. Soon I'll be leaving here. As soon as I can figure out how to leave without them noticing. Why would he want to sleep in a bedroll and give me his bed? Sounds queer. I bet it's just another trick to get my head all twisted round. Trade places? A bed under a roof for a bedroll under the stars? Sure. I don't trust you.
Ungor is in disbelief over the proposed bed swap by Amiable, and rightfully so. We need to gain his trust first before he'll believe us on this crazy trade. We quickly head over to Crucible in order to see what the other citizens suggest for this scenario.
Yes?
Your friend ain't sleeping, eh? You could buy one of me sticks. A dream stick, yes? Hit him over the head. Knock him into dreamland. No? Oh, here's a notion for you. Ungor really gets on us nerves. You could kill or persuade himself to leave. Run him through, or run him out, I mean. Yeah, get rid of him. Then your friend can sleep outside in Ungor's bed.
Why does everyone in this city look at me like I'm speaking gibberish? You can! Bless you, my lord. I should have known that you, of all people, would be able to understand me.
Fend no dorpidity, comunse to Ungor. Ungo Kamunse, he no delioretetic. That he meant it fine. But Ungo is very delioretetic. Oversit me? Ungo Kamunses, he bye-bye. Kamunse with Ungo. Are you identifying me? Kamunse with Ungo. Different dopidity in Ungo's domitidlu.
With all of those leads wrapped up, we head on back over to the Bliss side of New Sheoth and enter inside of Ranil Jarara's house. Ranil is a self-proclaimed expert at baking and has plenty of sweet rolls available for us to steal. We take one and head back to Fimian in order to give it to him for answers.
Fimian hungry. Got food? Sweet cakes? Sausages? Yes? I have idea for you. But first sweet roll for Fimian. Sweet roll for Fimian. Idea for you. Sweet roll. Sweet roll for Fimian. Yummy and dummy. Answer for you. Problem solved. Ungor. He say no crazy. But he is. He say he going. Away. Far. Your friend sleep there when Ungor goes. But Fimian no think Ungor really leave. You make Ungor go away faster. He won't leave without his lucky grapes. Can't eat them. I tried. Give back to him. If he still no go, make Ungor crispy with fire spell. Then glaze. Then eat him like a giant sweet roll. Sweet roll.
Fimian traded us some glass grapes that first belonged to Ungor in exchange for the sweet roll. With these grapes, we can win over Ungor's trust and convince him to swap bedrolls with Amiable.
What is it now? I've been looking for those. I thought Fimian stole them thinking he could eat them, but I could never prove it. Thank you for returning them. Well, it sounds fishy, but I suppose I can trust you. I'm sure I'll regret this later, but yeah. Sure, fine. I'm tired of sleeping outside. Tell him I'll sleep in his bed, and he can sleep in mine.
Ungor has finally agreed to sleep inside of Amiable's house, while Amiable will now sleep outside in the streets of Bliss. We return back to the paranoid Breton and speak with him.
Have you found me a safe place outside to sleep yet? You found a place for me to sleep? Outside under the stars, too small to fall and hurt me? Excellent, excellent. Tell me more. Really? And it's a safe place? Not at the bottom of a tall wall? Oh, that's a great idea. That sounds perfect. Well, I guess if he's not afraid of the walls falling on him, he won't care when they do. Can't save everyone, can we? Oh, yes, my pardons. But what can I give you? Oh, here, take this scroll. I was going to use it when the walls fell on me and I got trapped, but now I don't need it anymore.
Amiable is thrilled with the switch, and something tells me Ungor will be too. And now we're rewarded with a scroll called Burst of Might. Burst of Might grants us the temporary powers of Strength and Endurance for 100 points for 5 seconds, and Shield 100% for 5 seconds. Interestingly, Amiable's new sleeping spot is surrounded by walls and rocks, and he still looks like he's very fearful with the whole situation. But it is what he wanted after all. And thus ends the quest, Falling Awake. The next quest in Bliss is titled Work is Never Done. In order to begin, we have to make our way inside of Tove the Unrestful's house, or the inn, the Choosy Beggar, to seek out Tove the Unrestful. Entering inside of his home and going up to the second floor, we see the Nord hacking away at a wooden boat with an iron war axe. We speak with him.
Lord Sheogorath, have you found any yet? Sorry, I keep forgetting that most people don't remember when we'll meet in the future. Wait, this is yesterday's future. I'm the one that's confused. Anyway, you're going to help me find Calipers and tongs. No point in denying it. You've already agreed tomorrow. I'm using them to build my skyboat. Just between you and me, the hardest part has been getting the water not to fall out of the air. A marvelous contraption. I've gotten it to float in water perfectly. Now if I can just get the water to fly through the air. That's what the calipers and tongs are for. I need them to keep the water airborne. None? The world is devoid of calipers and tongs? What a sad state of affairs.
Tove is certainly a confusing man, but one thing's for sure, he needs us to find and bring him a lot of tongs and calipers. Tove requires us to bring over 100 calipers and or tongs in order to complete his skyboat, and he pays us roughly 5 pieces of gold per. We can hand him over any number of the desired items at any time for our pay and quest progression. There are a number of calipers and tongs located in New Sheoth. For Bliss, 5 calipers and 2 tongs can be found inside of the missing pauldron. 5 calipers can be found inside of common treasures, 3 calipers can be found inside and upstairs of Big Head's house, and Tove even has 2 of each item upstairs in his home. For Crucible, Brithaur has 4 calipers and 1 pair of tongs in the upstairs of his home. Cutter's Weapons has 2 calipers, Things Found has 2 calipers, and Sickly Bernice's Tap House has 2 calipers. In total, we can find 31 of our quest items in the city of New Sheoth. The other 69, however, are up to us to find around the Shivering Isles and Cyrodiil. Respawning crates and barrels are likely to have them, and every 3 days we can check again to see if any new ones have spawned in. Once we have 100 tongs or calipers, we can return back to Tove for our 500 gold and to aid him in building the skyboat.
My boat is coming along swimmingly. I see you found some. Frankly, I could use all of them. Are you willing to sell them? 5 gold each, just like I told you, next week. Excellent. Here's your money. I should have paid you last week. I'm dreadfully sorry about the delay. Calipers? Tongs? What would I need those for? Oh, you must be thinking about the skyboat. Yesterday's news. I'm working on a collapsible fork now. I just have to tear apart the boat to get to the hinges.
Tove pivoted away to his next genius invention and left the skyboat behind, but we support him no matter what, especially considering he paid us the gold for our services. Thus ends the quest. Work is never done. The next quest for Bliss is titled The Fork of Horripilation. In order to begin, we must seek out the Argonian named Big Head, who has a very odd obsession with forks. We wander on over to Big Head's house and enter inside. We then speak with him.
The fork for Big Head. Oh, where has Master put the fork? It sings alone, far from home. Sad, sad fork. Sad, sad Big Head. The fork! The precious, precious fork! Hear how it sings to Big Head. Beautiful, perfect fork of horripilation. But it is gone. Gone, gone, gone. No more singing. No more ringing. Taken from Big Head. Never returned. That is when Big Head came here. Master brought me. Whispered shouts into my ear. Songs of mad gods. Songs of bad gods. Softly, Master, softly. It went away, but it will come back. It always comes back. It is close. Big Head can hear it. The fork of horripilation. Hear it singing songs of home. It comes again. It brings presents. It is not present. Soon it will be. You will find it. Bring the fork. Hear the music. Music of toads. Music of roads. Sing to yourself so all can hear. Talk to the beggar. Talk to Bullwing. He knows secrets, but no one can hear them. No one but Big Head. Take Big Head's charm. Listen to Bullwing. His tongue is tied, but his mind is unraveled. He'll tell you the secret. Who has the fork? Find the fork. Bring it to Big Head. Sing it to Big Head.
Big Head has asked us to find the Fork of Horripilation, which seems to be his prized possession in the collection. He hands us over a tuning fork called Big Head's Charm and tells us to go learn more information from Bullwing in Crucible. Bullwing is the wood elf who speaks gibberish just in front of the city gates to Crucible. Somehow, this fork is supposed to help us to understand what he's saying. We go over to the wood elf and speak with him.
Fribble, just fribble. Wait, you can understand me? Lovely. It's been too long since I was able to have a nice chat with someone. What a pleasant surprise. Previously, it was only poor Big Head who seemed to understand me, and he's always in such a lather about that fork. Ah, yes, the Fork of Horripilation. I have heard rumors about it. It appears that Lord Sheogorath has returned it to the Isles. Not surprising, I suppose. He does enjoy his toys. Last I heard, some heretics had gotten hold of the item in question. Unfortunately, it seems to be an item of great importance for some of the zealots as well. They've been fighting over it for some time now.
Miraculously, the fork works and we're able to understand Bullwing. Bullwing shares with us that the heretics of the Isles have possessed the fork for quite some time. However, the zealots covet the item as well, and thus a war has raged on between the two groups to fight over ownership of the Fork of Horripilation. We take a look at our map and notice that the quest marker points us to an unknown location on the western side of the Isles, near the Zoselm secret entrance. We fast travel there and make our way over at once. The location happens to be Longtooth Camp, and upon our arrival, the heretics and zealots are already mid-battle. We unwillingly join the fight, slashing down both sides in order to get to the fork. There are more heretics than zealots, so we make sure to pick off most of the heretics first so the others can stay distracted with their fights. The second heretic we defeat is actually holding on to the Fork of Horripilation. We loot it off of them, and soon thereafter, we cut down both mystical cults and their conjurations of hunger. Fast traveling back to Bliss, we seek out Big Head, who is sneaking through the streets. Apparently, he has an issue with stealing forks from the other residents of Bliss.
The fork. Songs of bringing. The fork for Big Head. You bring the fork. Happy day. The blind shall see. The lame shall walk. The short shall tall. Forks for all. Big Head names you friend. Songs of friendship. Songs of ship friends. Presents for you. Presents on hatching day. Big Head was hatched, but his brother was not. Presents for egg friend. Almost forgot. Selfish Big Head. Shellfish Big Head. Big Head knows secrets. Secrets of learning. Alchemy. Sneaking and stabbing with blades. Which will you learn? The secret to sneaking is not to be seen. Empty rooms, empty tombs. Sneak in the dark, though the blind man can see you.
Big Head was thrilled to have the fork returned back to him and rewarded us with 1 skill point for either blade, sneak, or alchemy. We chose sneak, which at first I thought was clever for some upcoming content, but then realized just how not clever it was considering that skill was so low and so easy to level up, whereas my blade skill was a lot higher and a lot more difficult to increase, but what's done is done. With that, thus ends the quest, the Fork of Horripilation. The next and final quest for the District of Bliss actually bridges over to the Crucible side. This quest is titled The Antipodean Hammer and begun for us a while back. Whilst exploring the ruins of Xedilian, as per the main questline, we killed a lot of grummites, and on one of their bodies, we found something strange. We saw something called the Madness Arrow Matrix and picked it up. This quickly prompted the quest, the Antipodean Hammer, and suggested that we go seek out someone in the Isles who might know more about it. Fast forward a few main quests later, we stop by the missing pauldron in Bliss and enter inside. We go up to the blacksmith, an orc named Duma Grobank, and he tells us exactly the information we were looking for.
Hello, I'm Dumag Grobank, best and prettiest smith in town. I know the secret art of forging amber. Here, take this list. It explains what I need.
We put this quest to the side for a long time, but now it's finally time to return back to it and see what it entails. Going back to the missing pauldron and inquiring further with Grobank sounds like this.
Welcome back. What can I do for you? Amber is a resin found in root system tunnels and on gnarls. When treated properly, it is especially suited to lightweight weapons and armor. I alone know the ancient art of forging amber. I can even craft you magical items. Before my master passed on, she hid countless matrices in the world, there to soak up the magical essence of our world. As my master has done, so will I, before I pass on. Find me one of these matrices and enough amber, and I will craft you a magical item. Oh, I'd be happy to forge amber armor for you, but you don't have enough amber. Consult the information I have posted. I'd be happy to craft you amber weapons, but you need to bring me amber. Consult the information I have posted in the store for details.
As Grobank suggests, we walk over to the display armor, which has an attention-grabbing golden glow to it, and read the parchment hanging on the wall beside it. It reads, I, Duma Grobank, Master Smith of New Sheoth, am honor and duty bound by oath to my beloved mentor to forge weapons and armor for any hero who brings me amber. I will create magical versions of these weapons and armor if the hero can, along with the amber, return to me the apprentice matrix, which my mentor has scattered throughout the land to soak in the magical essence of the Shivering Isles. The amount of amber required to make items is listed below. 1 piece gives 25 arrows, 2 pieces gives a bow, 4 pieces gives a hammer, 2 pieces gives a mace, 3 pieces gives a sword, 2 pieces gives boots, 5 pieces gives cuirass, 2 pieces gives gauntlets, 3 pieces gives greaves, 2 pieces gives helmet, and 2 pieces gives shield. Before we set further into the amber armor, we wander over to the Crucible side of New Sheoth and pay a visit over to Cutter's Weapons to see the blacksmith, Cutter.
They call me Cutter. For a truly inspired blade, I can forge madness ore. Here, hold on to this parchment. It lists what I need. Spirits of ancient souls are trapped in the ore. Find it in old ruins. Also, grummites are especially attracted to it. It's a supple and flexible ore, yet it holds a good edge. I can shape the sharpest of blades from it. I can also create magical items. Tradition dictates before each master smith dies,
She hides these magical molds in the world, like pouring salt into a wound. Over time, they soak in magical energies from the world around them, like you suck blood from a cut. Bring me a matrix and enough ore, and I will forge you a new item and bleed the magic of the matrix into it. What is your wish? Maybe later.
We take a look at the Madness armor, which appears to use strong, sturdy, and dark metals to offer a rather unique and formidable look. We read the parchment hanging on the wall beside it. I, Cutter, Master Smith of New Sheoth, by tradition and sacred pledge to my deceased mentor, must forge weapons and armor for any hero who brings me Madness ore. I will create magical versions of these weapons and armor if the hero provides the needed ore and the appropriate matrix, which my mentor has hidden throughout the land, drinking in the mystical essences, the blood of the Shivering Isles. The amount of Madness ore required to make items is listed below. 1 piece makes 25 arrows, 2 pieces makes a bow, 4 pieces makes a claymore, 2 pieces makes a war axe, and 3 pieces makes a sword. 2 pieces makes a pair of boots, 5 pieces makes a cuirass, 2 pieces makes a pair of gauntlets, 3 pieces makes a pair of greaves, 2 pieces makes a helmet, and 2 pieces makes a shield. So now we have our 2 options of armor to choose from. Madness armor, which is the heavy option of the 2, can be made via Madness ore. Madness ore can be found most commonly on grummites located around the Isles, as well as through mining Madness ore deposits in certain ruins and caves. These deposits will often have a green sparkle swirling them. Amber, on the other hand, can be found most commonly on gnarls, or in hollowed out amber limbs and stumps, which can be found in various caves. These hollowed out areas have an orange spark swirling them. Now, as for the matrices, these are very rare and relatively difficult to find. We found one randomly in the inventory of a grummite we killed in Zidillion, but that's about it. I don't recall seeing any more in our travels. A matrix has a very low spawn rate and can appear anywhere from an enemy's inventory to an isolated chest somewhere on the Isles. A full set of amber armor only uses 16 amber. Once we have everything we want, including our matrices, we can return to Grobonk and have him forge our items.
You think I'm ugly, don't you? And that she's a prettier smith, is that it? What do you require? You'll look absolutely stunning in this. Maybe you'd like to give me a little fashion show? My, what big hands you have. You want some help putting these on? You know what they say about the size of a man's forehead, right?
Grobonk is certainly very forward with us during this process, but advances aside, the magical versions of the amber armor have some pretty amazing powers attached to them. We received Grand Armor, which is one off from the best version, Perfect Armor. We're not proficient in light armor, so the armor ratings aren't very good for us. The boots have an armor rating of a 1 and an enchantment of Fortify Acrobatics for 10 points. The cuirass has an armor rating of 4 and an enchantment of Agility for 10 points. The gauntlets have an armor rating of 1 and an enchantment of Fortify Marksman and Hand-to-Hand each for 8 points. The greaves have an armor rating of 2 and an enchantment of Fortify Speed for 10 points. The helmet has an armor rating of 1 and an enchantment of Fortify Intelligence for 10 points. The shield has an armor rating of 5 and an enchantment of Reflect Spell for 9% on self. As for the weapons, we're most proficient in blades, so that's what we decided to have forged for us. All of the weapons have the enchantments of damage health, with the grand version dealing 17 points on strike. The sword has a damage rating of 23. We move on over to the Crucible section to speak with Cutter and see what she can make for us.
Do you enjoy it? Cutting my heart? Why visit that other smith? What is your wish? They say the heart anchors the soul to the man. Think of this while the heart of your enemy beats in your hand. Then squeeze. Such strong blood pulses through the legs. The best way for a blade to slip into a man's brain is through the eye socket, ear hole, or through the nose. It's a satisfying sound when an arrow rips into flesh.
Cutter's remarks are creepy in their own regard, but she is able to craft some fantastic weapons and armor for us. Using all of the matrices, she made some very exquisite items for our character to use. Being proficient in heavy armor, we have the boots, which have an armor rating of 5 and an enchantment of Fortify Athletics for 10 points. The cuirass has an armor rating of 15 and the enchantment of Fortify Strength for 10 points. The gauntlets have an armor rating of 5 and an enchantment of Fortify Blade and Blunt for 8 points each. The greaves have an armor rating of 8 and the enchantment of Fortify Endurance for 10 points. The helmet has an armor rating of 5 and the enchantment of Fortify Willpower for 10 points. The shield has an armor rating of 17 and the enchantment of Reflect Damage for 9%. The sword has a damage rating of 24 and the enchantment of Damage Health for 17 points on strike. Whichever armor your character is proficient in, I don't think you'll be disappointed in either selection. As for this quest, the Antipodean Hammer, it can never be completed as we can always use the services of both blacksmiths, and therefore it will always be in our active quests. And with that, thus ends the quest, the Antipodean Hammer. Moving on to the Crucible side of New Sheoth, we begin with a quest simply titled Brithaur. When first arriving in New Sheoth and asking around town for rumors, we'll receive the conversation topic about someone named Brithaur. Inquiring about them sounds like this.
Yes? Iril has a big problem with Brithaur. I don't know exactly what the problem is, but it's safe to say Iril is making a huge fuss over it. Iril owns a magic shop in town called Iril's Mysteries. If you want to know more, I'd suggest you ask him yourself.
Someone named Errol supposedly has an issue with this wood elf named Brithaur. We're directed over to Eril's Mysteries, a shop in town, to see exactly what's going on.
Firm arms? A strong back? Yes, you'll do nicely. It's a shame. Time will ravage you, destroy you, wither you. But there are alternatives. Time need not slow you. Tell me, have you ever considered placing yourself on display? Oh, yes. You see, I am a student of chronomancy, the magic of time alteration. Using magicka, I will slow your heart rate, your breathing, your movement, and your thoughts until they may as well not be functioning at all. You will be perfectly preserved, taken out of time, beautiful forever. I will display you with the rest in my collection. Oh, what a pity. Well then, what is it that I can do for you? And be quick about it. Every second that passes brings us closer to our graves. That lout? Yes, he's a thorn in my side that never seems to go away. I'd have his heart on a plate if I could. I wish he'd simply disappear from the streets of New Sheoth forever. Oh, look! Just talking about it has given me another grey hair. For one thing, he's a thief. But what irks me the most is that he's a bad thief. Between my shop and a few others in Crucible, he's been caught stealing maybe a dozen times last month. Who has time for this sort of thing? I mean, at this rate, I'll grow old and die before he's out of our hair. I'll tell you what I tell anyone else who asks. Get rid of him for me and I'll make it worth your while. Do hurry. Time's wasting. Prove to me he's gone, and the reward is as good as yours. Now, please, get a move on. I feel my bones getting more brittle as we speak.
Trying to find Brithaur, We quite hauntingly see that he was in the store with us and might have overheard some things, but lucky for us, the Radiant AI isn't that innovative for this 18-year-old game. Brithaur is a thief and has been stealing from Errol, and Errol wants him taken care of. So, we speak with Brithaur directly to get the scoop.
Looking for me? Well, hello there. It's good to see such a well-equipped individual as yourself around these parts. But you look tired. Carrying all that gear will do that to you. I'd be glad to shoulder some of the burden, relieve you of that expensive stuff. Or is there something else I can take from that? I mean, help you with? Oh, how could anyone have a problem with me? Come now.
We cast Beguiling Touch and grease him up with a few septums, then try again.
Full gift. I know what people say about me. I'm not completely stupid, you know. It's just that I like to collect things. All sorts of things. Shiny things, valuable things. I can't help myself. My collection is almost complete. All I need are 5 flawless pearls, and I'm done. How hard could that be? Beautiful gems they are. They can be found all over the Shivering Isles, in treasure chests and the like.
Brithaur opens up and says he wants to be done with burglary, but first needs to complete his collection with 5 flawless pearls. He walks away from us and we're left with a decision. The most obvious and straightforward one is to kill him. 2 swings with Dawnfang and Brithaur was defeated. We take his heart as proof and we get a quest update that we can tell Errol that Brithaur would no longer be a problem, but we did commit murder and will have to pay for it. The next option is to actually go to the Court of Dementia and seek out Kithlan to inform him of how much of a problem Brithaur has become for the shopkeepers and citizens.
How may I assist you, my lord? Yes, I've heard of Brithaur's exploits in Crucible. Up until now, I thought he was harmless. But now he's become a genuine troublemaker, eh? That's my specialty. Don't worry, it will be handled.
Kithlan takes care of the issue for us and has Brithaur arrested. Well, sort of. He's technically arrested and taken care of like the update suggests, but sometimes he can still be seen wandering around town, going about his thievery and everyday business. But nevertheless, Errol still rewards us. Finally, we can take a hint and give Brithaur the 5 flawless pearls that he seeks.
So, you have the pearls? Or perhaps any other things of value I can have? I mean, a hold for you. You have them? Please, please, hand them over. Oh, thank you. My collection is finally complete. Well, my thieving days have finally come to an end. I promise never to set foot in any of the shops in Crucible ever again. Tell everyone not to worry. I won't be bothering them any longer.
Brithaur makes some big and bold promises about turning away from crime. But regardless, our job is done and we can now go to Errol and receive our reward. Going back into Errol's mysteries and speaking with him sounds like this.
Have you dealt with Brithaur? I'm not getting any younger here waiting for you. You must hurry and get rid of him. What? He's promised not to come round here anymore? Fantastic! Took you long enough, though. I don't know how you did it, but I appreciate it. And by appreciate, I mean reward. Enjoy.
Errol gives us a leveled amount of gold, in our case 375, and we're now on our way. Interestingly, if we talk to Brithaur again after the mission, he will comment on how our purse is so full and take 1 gold from it, showing that once a thief, always a thief. And thus ends the quest, Brithaur. The next quest for Crucible is titled The Coming Storm. This quest begins with us entering into the shop called Things Found. Whilst inside, if we speak with the owner, Ajazda, she has an interesting proposition for us.
So much to gather, so little time. Perhaps you can help. You might help against the coming storm. It's coming. I think I'm the only one who sees it, though, and I'm going to be ready. Oh, yes, I'll be ready. That's right. I've been stockpiling supplies, things I'll need to ride it out, or survive when they come for me. I've been gathering things for quite a while, but there are still a few I'm missing. Perhaps you'd bring them to me. I still need the Amulet of Disintegration, the Ring of Desiccation, and, of course, the Calming Pants. Must have the Calming Pants. Bring these to me, and I will reward you well. Ajazda has many, many things. Something big is coming, the end of it all, and I'm going to be ready. Let me know when you've found what I need.
For fear of some intense, world-ending storm coming to the Isles, Ajazda has asked us to pick up 3 items that will help her stay supplied and stay safe during said disaster. Exiting the shop and looking at our map, we see that 2 of the items we need are located in New Sheoth. The first spot we need to go to is the Museum of Oddities on the Crucible side. Here, we're pointed by our compass to the upper level where there is an unlocked glass display case. Opening it up, we see that the Ring of Desiccation is on the inside. We sneak to ensure that the owner of the museum, Una, can't see us, and we steal the ring, successfully securing the first item. The next item is located on the Bliss side of New Sheoth. We see that we're being directed over to Fimian, a wood elf. We speak with him to find out why.
Fimian hungry. Got food? Sweet cakes? Sausages? Fimian hungry. Wants sweet roll. Fimian like pants. Love sweet roll. Fimian hungry. Sweet roll for Fimian. Pants for you.
Fimian said that if we give him a sweet roll, he would hand over the Calming Pants, which is one of the artifacts that Ajazda wants us to retrieve. Remembering that Ranil Jarara is a so-called expert at baking, we wander into his house and make our way into his serving area. It's here we see a few sweet rolls displayed on a shelving unit next to a loaf of bread. We steal one and make our way back over to the wood elf Fimian.
Speak, madman.
Fimian hungry. Wants sweet roll. Fimian like pants. Love sweet roll. Sweet roll good. Fimian give pants. Got pie? Apples? Fimian hungry.
Fimian removes his slacks and we successfully make the trade, a sweet roll for the Calming Pants. The final item on our list is way out in the lands of Bliss. Looking at our map, we see that our destination is the dungeon Milkar. We enter inside of the Nexus and travel to the third zone called Milkar Chatterhall. Here, the room is quite simple. There's an urn in the middle with some braziers lit on fire surrounding it, and at the edges of the room, we see 2 unlit braziers and one that has a torch on it. Walking over to the torch and attempting to pick it up, it tells us that the ritual torch can be held by any, but owned by none. So, we use the Z key to physically pick up the torch and bring it around the room to light the rest of the braziers. We do have to hurry, however, as if we take too long, the braziers we already lit will go out. Once all 3 braziers are lit, we can go over to the urn in the center of the room, titled Diligence Crux, and pull out the final item, the Amulet of Disintegration. Once that's done, we can leave Milkar and return back to Ajazda in Crucible. Seeking her out on the streets and speaking with her sounds like this.
Have you found anything for me? The Amulet of Disintegration. Thank you. It's one of the keys to my safety in the coming times. Because when they come for me, I'm not going to let them have my stuff No way. The pants. The calming pants. Finally, these pants are key to my survival. Isn't it obvious? Do you know the #1 reason people die in a catastrophe? Do you? They panic. Well, not me. No way. I'll be calm and collected with these pants on, ready for action. The Ring of Desiccation. Perfect! It does everything I need it to. A wondrous piece of craftsmanship. Is it? Is it now? You can't be too careful. It is. It is. You've done so well. You deserve a reward. Let me teach you a special spell. It will affect all those around you. You might find it handy to cause confusion in your enemies. You know, when the time comes.
We're rewarded with the greater power called Ajazda's Paranoia, which casts Frenzy up to level 25 and 50 feet for 10 seconds on touch. We know that this is the land of mania and paranoia, however, I can't help but think that Ajazda is smarter than she sounds and is actually preparing for the Grey March and for the forces of order to come and attack Crucible. With that, thus ends the quest, The Coming Storm. The next quest is titled Final Resting. As we make our way around the Crucible district of New Sheoth, we find ourselves beckoned over by a strange Imperial.
Psst, over here. I need to talk to you. It's important.
His name is Heris Clytumnus, and if we take him up on his offer to have a little chat, this is what he has to say to us.
I have a proposition for you. Best not to talk about it here. Meet me at the sewer grate northeast of the Sheol-Gorath statue. Come after dark. Come alone.
In the past, when strangers have asked us to meet them somewhere secluded after dark, it's never really turned out well. Expecting the worst and preparing for it, we decided to wait for a few hours until the cover of nighttime, exactly like Heris had asked us. Then, when the timing is right, we make our way to the Imperial by the sewer gate northeast of the Sheol-Gorath statue.
I'm glad you came. So, are you interested in earning some loot? Great! There's a simple task. Yes, a simple task that you must perform. This life, it's too painful. Everywhere I look, I see death, dying and decay. When I dream, I see a world without sunshine. I'm constantly on the verge of retching up, or falling asleep, or screaming at someone who doesn't deserve it. I'm just so fed up with it all. A bad day? A bad day? Try a miserable existence! There's no point in talking about it. Action must be taken. You must. I need you to kill me. Have you seen those miserable souls on the Hill of Suicides? Do you think that kind of existence is any better than this? No. You must kill me. I don't necessarily want to see it coming. And I want to die here in the city so all these people finally believe me. They'll wish they were nicer. You probably want to do it without spectators, though, so you don't get in trouble. Best to make it look like an accident. But remember, I don't want to see it coming. Take me unaware. Well, that's up to you, I suppose. I'm gonna go about my daily life, such as it is, as if nothing has changed. Make your move when you wish, but please do it soon. Oh, that. When you kill me, take the key to my house. Nothing really worth taking except what's locked up in the jewelry box. You can have that. Okay. I'm going to pretend everything is normal. Make your move as soon as you can, but let me get away first so I don't know it's coming.
So, Horus has dropped a bit of a bombshell on us and told us that he wishes to die, but he needs our help so that he doesn't end up a soul on the hill of suicide. He doesn't want to see it coming, and in fact, when we get too close to him, he actually cowers in fear and screams that he doesn't want to die like this. So, there are many different ways we can assist him in dying, and some are better than others when it comes to not getting caught. The first way is by charging up to him and cutting him down with one swing. Immediately, we'll get a quest update that we've upheld our part of the bargain, and we can now take his key and go loot his home. Of course, we did this in the middle of town, and the Dark Seducers come running up to us in order to charge us with murder. The next way is slightly less conspicuous, as we can wait for Horus to stand at the edge of the platform on the stairs overlooking Crucible, and we can shoot him down with a ranged attack. This way, he doesn't see it coming, exactly like he asked, but we were still spotted by the Dark Seducers and get confronted by them. The third way is actually quite entertaining, and we technically don't get any blood on our hands, both literally and metaphorically. Approaching Horus at the edge of the stair platform, we can continuously walk into him until he loses his footing and falls to his death. No crime was committed, the game does not register it as us killing him, and we still get the quest update. The fourth way is probably the most entertaining, however, as we can go and speak with him one final time.
Sometimes I come up here to think. Everything looks so small from up here. Makes me feel better, you know? Like I'm not so small myself. But that feeling only lasts a little while, and I start thinking about how miserable everything is, and then all I want to do is step off the ledge. I can't just jump. Don't want to end up on the hill. But I hope that someday, maybe, a big gust of wind will come and push me off, so I can end it all. What? Oh! Peace. At last.
And with that, Horus goes flying off the edge and practically falls in slow motion to his death. It takes a little bit for him to say his last words, and when he wraps up, we get the quest update that it's time to loot him for his key. Most interestingly, there are other bodily remains and blood splatters located in this spot as well, just below the overlook from the stairs. Either other citizens have taken their own lives like this, or have voluntarily or involuntarily had other people help them out just like we did. We head over to Horus' house in Crucible and enter inside. We're immediately met with a bit of a shocking sight of a bloody table with a variety of different tools that we've commonly seen are used for torture. Hanging off the walls are chains and shackles that look like they're used to hold people in this area. Immediately, my mind went to the idea that Horus was up to slightly more nefarious deeds involving others. But more than likely, given his state of mind and general attitude, it's more plausible that he actually was using those tools on himself and that the blood splatters likely came from him. We continue upstairs and enter inside of his bedroom. We take a look into his jewelry box and see that there's an enchanted ring called the Ring of Happiness, as well as Horus Clitumnus' will. Taking both, we read off the note. I've wanted to die for quite some time. Things just aren't going right. Never have gone right, really. No one seems to care either, nor even notice I exist. Not that I'd have much to say even if someone had wanted to be my friend. I'd make a lousy friend anyway. I'm probably even boring the person reading this. I'm certainly boring myself. Not that anyone will ever find this note. Oh, but if they do. If they do, it means that I've been granted my greatest wish. To be released from this mortal coil. This isn't a suicide note, no. That would mean I've taken my own life, and we all know what that means. Who wants that kind of existence? To be reborn on a hill every day, reset as if nothing ever happened. That's even worse than the life I'm living. Life I've lived. Yes, yes, yes. I'm sure I'm happy now. The dead me. The me writing this note isn't happy at all. Never have been happy, really. Anyway, the The purpose of this note is to say to the man or woman who has killed me, thank you. All I really have is this queer little ring. A wizard gave it to me once, said I reminded him of his dead son. I guess I resemble his dead son even more now. Anyway, he said it would make me happy, lift the weight of the world off my shoulders or some such thing. Come to think of it, it's the only time anyone has ever given me anything. Personally, I think the thing is worthless, just like me. I tried it for a while, the happiness ring, but eventually I couldn't wear it anymore. It made me feel odd, not myself. I didn't like feeling that way, so I locked it away. It's pretty enough though. It might fetch a few gold coins at the merchant. Sorry not to leave much more behind, but my life never really amounted to much anyway, did it? Yours very truly, Hieris Clytumnus, deceased. A bit of a downer note, but I suppose we helped him out with what he truly wanted, and hopefully Hieris has found himself in a happier state now. Looking at the Ring of Happiness, it has the enchantments of Feather for 25 points, Light for 5 feet, Water Walking, and Fortify Personality for 4 points. A fun little detail that the developers added in is once this quest has been completed and Hieris is dead, we can travel to the New Sheoth graveyard and notice that there's a new tombstone on the plot. Wandering over to it, it reads, Hieris Clytumnus never felt like he fit in anywhere. He fits in a coffin quite nicely now. Thus ends the quest, final resting, and also ends the tragic tale of Hieris Clytumnus. The next quest is titled, A Liquid Solution. We began this quest a while ago by making our way around the region of Crucible in the city of New Sheoth. As per the main quest, titled The Lady of Paranoia, this task saw us questioning the citizens on their knowledge regarding a conspiracy against the Duchess Syl. Wandering around town, we decided to take a stop inside of Sickly Bernice's tap house. Whilst in here, we made our way to the publican, Sickly Bernice, and began speaking with her.
Yeah, Sickly Bernice, proprietor. Don't get too close now. You might catch what I have. Well, it seems I am dying. Yes, these may be my last days in the Shivering Isles. That is, unless someone like yourself could help me find the cure. But no one has taken me up on my offer, even with the promise of a reward. Oh, well, it's been a good life, I suppose.
From there, we went on to torture her to see if she knew anything about the conspiracy. However, that's not relevant to the rest of today's tale. Perhaps the fact that she didn't perish from the shock damage while claiming to be so sick and frail proves to be good for her though. After successfully completing the Shivering Isles main DLC and mantling the power and persona of Sheogorath, we figured it was time to go around to the citizens of New Sheoth and see what we can help them out with. Seeing as how Sickly Bernice asked for our aid quite some time ago, she was at the top of the priority list. We made our way back into Sickly Bernice's tap house in Crucible and spoke with her once more.
Hello again. Talk to me while you can. I don't think I've got too long. Are you willing to help me? Oh, thank you so much. There's only one place in all the Isles to get the cure for what I have. Knotty Bramble. I'll mark it on your map. There, on the lowest level of the place, is a pool containing the cure. Aqua Nostrum. Legend has it that it bubbles up from around an old statue. Bring me back the remedy, and I will reward you well. Here, take this special flask to collect the Aqua Nostrum. I see the flask is still empty. Ooh, nothing to do now but await my cold, lonely death. Oh yes, it's the miracle remedy for any disease. I was told about this wonderful solution by a recent patron of my establishment. He said if I let him stay for free, he'd tell me how to cure my sickness. How fortuitous. Apparently it only exists at the bottom of Knotty Bramble. Oh, well. So close, yet so far.
The story sounds very fishy to say the least. A stranger told sickly Bernice, a woman not in very good health, that the cure to her ailment was located in the depths of some dungeon called Knotty Bramble in exchange for them being able to stay the night for free at the inn. Bernice was likely taken advantage of, but we won't know for sure until we find the Aqua Nostrum. We look around the upstairs of the inn to see if any of the rooms are occupied. Maybe then perhaps we might find the stranger who knows about the miracle waters for curing all diseases. However, it was to no avail as the inn was completely empty. So now it's time to head to Knotty Bramble. Our closest discovered location to it is Blackroot Lair, located close to the Gates of Madness. We fast travel over there and walk the short distance to the hidden oasis. Outside of Knotty Bramble, we encounter two grummites guarding the entrance. One is a beater and the other is a torturer. A gnarl sapling decides to join in the fight as well, however with a few swings of Duskfang, we chop down all three foes. Knotty Bramble contains a total of 3 zones. For this quest, we only need to venture through the first 2. The first zone is titled Knotty Bramble. It consists of a series of passageways and 2 very small rooms. There are a total of 10 grummites in this zone, and most of the ones that we fought were either beaters or torturers. The nice part about the grummites is that they don't hit very hard, and their health isn't plentiful either. They are particularly good at blocking, however, so we often found ourselves getting staggered by them. We do have to take care not to fight them in the water, as they do have a 1 to 3 point health regen whilst in it. Grummites do, however, have a 25% weakness to fire though, so attacking with Dawnfang instead of Duskfang was a smarter move. The second zone is titled Knotty Bramble Hatchery. Entering inside from the bottom right of the local map, we come close to a Grummite Magus, but end up missing it entirely and making our way round to the pool area. In the upper levels, there's a Grummite Torturer with a bow whom we kill before they have a chance to shoot us down in the pool. After defeating it, we turn around and come face to face with a boss level Grummite. This one's called a Painbringer. It's certainly a harder fight than all of the previous Grummites, but still not incredibly challenging as it just wasn't able to deplete our health very much. It was incredible at blocking, however, and we found ourselves getting staggered quite a lot. After a patient battle of blocking and swinging a couple of times on repeat, we managed to bring down the Painbringer. Making our way down into the pool area, we receive a quest update that the Grummite statue seems to be similar to the one sickly Bernice described. It also says we have to get as close as possible to gather a sample of the Aqua Nostrum. Finally, within its proximity, we receive another quest update saying that we have successfully recovered a sample of the Miracle Elixir, and now it's time to return to New Sheoth and present it to sickly Bernice. Just as we were on our way out, 2 Grummite Torturers block our exit off of the ramp onto the upper level. We take them back down into the water, as even though they will regenerate some health, it's a larger battlefield to fight them both on. Eventually, we cut down both Grummites and we exit the way we came into Knotty Bramble. Fast traveling back to New Sheoth, we enter inside of sickly Bernice's tap house and speak with her once more.
I hope you have something for me. Let me see. Yes, this is it. Please accept this as a gesture of thanks. It's the least I can do for you. After all, you saved my life.
The Aqua Nostrum is removed from our inventory, and we're rewarded with an enchanted ring called the Circlet of Verdure. The Circlet of Verdure is a leveled piece of jewelry that for us has the abilities to resist disease and poison for 40%, fortify health for 25%, and fortify endurance for 8 points, thus ending the quest a liquid solution. The next quest is called Ushnar's Terror. Wandering around Crucible, we're likely to see Ushnar Gros Shad Borgob, an orc who always has his dog following him around. What you also might notice too is there's a strange Khajiit following Ushnar's dog around town as well. Speaking with Ushnar about it sounds like this.
Ew, you smell worse than that cat, Bisha. Get away from me. He's still around. I've seen him skulking like the filthy cat he is. He's still around. I've seen him skulking like the filthy cat he is.
Ashar doesn't tell us his problems outright, but if we pry a little bit and grease him up with beguiling touch as well as some septums, he spills the beans.
Esther. Yes, he's the one. Isn't he scary? I wish someone would just make him disappear. I bet you're a cat lover, too. Yes, he's the one. Isn't he scary? I wish someone would just make him disappear. You would do that for me? I would do just about anything for you if you make him go away. Permanently. For good. Never to be seen again. He's still around. I've seen him skulking like the filthy cat he is.
Ashar is deathly afraid of cats, and Bisha, the Khajiit, following him around certainly doesn't help his phobia. We track down Bisha and speak with him.
Yes? He has a nice dog. I like dogs. Why should I leave just because you tell me to?
There are a few ways we can take care of Bisha for Ashar. The first way is the most simplest. We can kill Bisha in the streets of Crucible and quickly be done with it. The quest update does detail how Ashar does not care how we do it, he just wants it done. It does count as murder, however, and we're likely to pay for it accordingly. The second way is after we've mantled the power of Sheogorath, we can increase Bisha's disposition past the 70 mark via bribing and charming, and then we can simply ask him to leave Crucible for good.
He has a nice dog. I like dogs. Lord Sheogorath wants me to leave? Okay, for you I will. I know a nice spot in Bliss where I can stay.
Bisha has simply agreed to leave Crucible and go to the Bliss side of New Sheoth because Sheogorath has asked him to. However, given that we have to bribe him with a lot of gold due to our speechcraft skill being so low, the most efficient way of removing him without killing him would be the third option, by giving him 100 gold outright to relocate to Bliss.
I wonder if there are nice dogs in Bliss. I think I'll go see.
The final and most fun way, in my opinion, to get rid of Bisha is to sneak into Ashnar's house and make our way over to his dog's food. We can take the food and wander back over to Bisha and offer him it as a gift.
Blessings of the Mad God. He has a nice dog. I like dogs. You're giving me free food? You're a good friend. Thank you.
The next time Ashar and his dogs see Bisha, they will attack him in the streets for his quote-unquote theft and outright murder him, doing the dirty work for us and taking care of Bisha for good. Once Bisha is taken care of in any of these ways, we can return to Ashar for our reward.
That cat beggar is following me. He's going to eat me, Lord Sheogorath. I just know it. Don't look. He's standing right over there. He's gone? Truly? Oh, thank you. I know what you need. You need a dog. I happen to have one of my old ones still lying around. I'll send it to you.
Ashar offers us one of his dogs, and when we turn around, we see a skinned hound standing at the ready, following us around for our protection. The skinned hound will fight for us, draw aggro, and even die for us, as it is non-essential and only has one life. It's a very interesting companion to have, but didn't last very long for us. Funny enough, Bisha follows Ashar around because he likes dogs, and Ashar has his dogs around in order to scare off cats like Bisha. With that, thus ends the quest, Ashnar's Terror. The final journal quest to come out of Crucible is titled The Museum of Oddities. We begin by entering into the Museum of Oddities in the district of Crucible, adjacent to Cutter's Weapons. Here, we see the owner, Una Armina, and speak with her.
Is this your first time to the museum? Perhaps you would care for a tour. I am the curator of the Museum of Oddities, Una Armina. Have we met? You look familiar. Anyway, I'm always looking for new exhibits, so remember me when you come across anything odd. I'm always looking for new oddities to add to my collection. Anything unusual, bizarre, strange, or disturbing, bring it to me. I do pay a nominal finder's fee, but of course the real reward is your contribution to posterity. Do you have anything that you'd like to contribute to the museum? Oh, don't worry. You'll find something odd if you keep at it. Would you like a tour of the museum? Wonderful. Follow me and I'll show you around my little collection of oddities.
We're actually going to go on the completed tour by the end of this quest, so we'll skip the shortened tour for now. In total for this quest, Una needs us to bring her 12 different items to add to this museum. 5 of the 12 are unique in the sense that they can only be found in specific places, and the other 7 are found randomly in containers, other storage areas, and to be looted off of enemies. We can bring these items to her altogether, in groups, or one by one. The first of the 5 items with fixed locations is the Blind Watcher's Eye. This item can be found in either Knotbone Chamber, the Lost Crypt Zone of Knotty Bramble, or the Nexus Zone of Milkar. The next item is a deformed Swamp Tentacle. This can either be found in the exterior near Pinnacle Rock, south of the Gates of Madness in the Fringe, near Time Lost Camp, or west of the door to Cyrodiil outside of the Fringe's wall. The next item is called Din's Ashes, and those can be found in the 6th zone of Ibralca, called the Crematorium. This can be accessed via the 1st zone by a switch that's hidden underneath a leather shield. The ashes are being guarded by a skeleton named Brithaur the Cremator. The second last item is something called Mute Screaming Maw. This can be found in Corpse Rot Prison in the Fringe, the Arena Zone of Cannes, or the Bramble Halls of Dunroot Burrow. The 5th and final fixed item, called the Pelvis of Pelagius, can be found in the Congregation Chambers of the Howling Halls, which is locked in a display case. If done after the main quest, the Howling Halls are now filled with heretics as opposed to the Apostles. The other 7 items can be found in random containers or on enemies around the Isles. These include a Dagger of Friendship, a Hound's Tooth Key, a Mixing Bowl, a Ring of Disrobing, a Soul Tomato, and a 2-headed Septum Coin. The only item that is best to find not in a container, but in amber limbs or stumps in places such as Fetid Grove, Rotten Den, Swamp Gas Hole, Milkar, or Knotbone Juncture is a Sheogorath-shaped amber. Multiples of these items can be found, and even some shops, like the Missing Pauldron, might have a few for sale. Once all of the items are found, we can go back to Una at the Museum of Oddities in order to hand them in for our reward and a tour.
Welcome to the Museum of Oddities. Let me know if you'd like a tour of our exhibits. Have you found a new oddity that you'd like to contribute to the museum? Oh, how deliciously odd. I've never seen a Blind Watcher's Eye before. It will have a place of honor in the museum. Have you found a new oddity that you'd like to contribute to the museum? Wonderful! Looking at the tentacle, I'm not sure whether to be disgusted or terrified. Just the kind of thing I'm looking for. Have you found a new oddity that you'd like to contribute to the museum? Well, if it doesn't look just like you, so lifelike. My patrons are going to absolutely adore this. Have you found... That's amazing! The pelvis of Pelagius III, an honoured madman if there ever was one. Have you... This is unusual. The ashes of a famous madman are perfect for my museum. Have you... 2 Tibers are always better than 1, I always say. We'll take good care of him here in the museum, don't you worry. Have you... Oh my, that is odd. I've never even heard of such a thing before. We'll find a nice place for it here in the museum. Have you... A bowl that you mix potions in? Well, it doesn't seem all that odd to me. Well, I can see you're trying, so I'll find somewhere to put it. Have you... What a perfect little oddity! Just strange enough that it makes you go, but not so strange as to become a miracle or an omen. Thank you. Have you... Well, isn't that just the oddest thing? A dagger that heals people. Who would make such a thing, and why? I absolutely adore it. Have you... Oh my, how wonderful! A ring that removes people's clothing. This will be one of my most popular exhibits, I'm sure. Have you found a new... Oh, how cute! Look how it tries and tries to scream, but no sound comes out. Oh, this is perfect for my museum. Have you found a new oddity that you'd like to contribute to the museum? Well, just keep looking and I'm sure something odd will turn up. Would you like a tour of the museum? Wonderful. Follow me and I'll show you around my little collection of oddities. Look closely and you'll see a tiny skull. These pygmies used to live in the Shivering Isles until they were all eaten by grummites, poor dears. Here's a real oddity for you, an arm of one of the gatekeepers. This one was killed by... Oh, I forget now. A lovely specimen in any case. Up here is a little beauty, the Ring of Desiccation. Walk on water and breathe underwater at the same time. Odd, if you think about it for a minute. Here you see the Blind Watcher's Eye, a most unusual specimen collected at great peril by some intrepid adventurer. Here, in this case, is a disgustingly deformed swamp tentacle. Such a freak of nature has never been seen before, and hopefully not since either. This right here is one of my favourites. A lump of amber in the shape of your head, my lord. A very popular item too, if I may be so bold. Over here is the pelvis of Pelagius, the greatest emperor that Tamriel has ever seen, as well as being completely mad. Here we have the mortal remains of a fellow named Din, who, as I understand, was driven mad and killed himself. A truly demented act. This is a lovely little oddity. A two-headed septim. Take your time, there's no rush. Here's something truly odd. A soul tomato. A tomato that can act like a soul gem. No one has yet been able to explain it. This one is perhaps more unusual than truly odd, but some people enjoy it. Truth to be told, I only display it as a favour to the donor. A lovely little oddity. A key made from a hound's tooth. And no one even knows what it opens. Imagine that. Shall we move on? Here's a new addition to the museum, one of my favourites. A dagger that heals whomever it cuts. Isn't that deliciously odd? The Ring of Disrobing. Removes your clothes if you put it on. Now don't you go trying it. I have enough oddities on display already. I love this one. It's a screaming maw that can't scream. Isn't that just the oddest thing you've ever seen? I hope you've enjoyed the tour. Feel free to stay and browse for as long as you like.
For each item, we were rewarded a handsome finder's fee of gold. We're able to steal all of the items that we just handed over, but no additional finder's fee will be handed out if we give them back, including the Ring of Desiccation we stole for Ajazda in the coming storm. Una will have different dialogue if items have been stolen, fumbling around the museum wondering where everything has gone. Thus ending the quest, the Museum of Oddities. Moving on to the settlements quests for the Shivering Isles, the first one we have is called Everything in Its Place. This quest begins with us happening across the settlement of Felmore, located northwest of Zedilian and far southwest of New Sheath along Pinnacle Road. Felmore is a farm settlement and will see a lot of Khajiit occupying it as well as one high elf. Wandering up to one of the Khajiit locals named Kishashi and speaking with her sounds like this.
Perhaps you are the one. No, probably not. Never mind. But then again... Ranar Joe is in need of a hero, but I'm not certain you are to be that one. First, you must earn his trust. This looks like a farm, doesn't it? That's what they want you to think. Truth be told, these plants are monsters. They sleep below the water. They dream terrible dreams, and one day soon they will rise up, consume us and the rest of the Shivering Isles. Get out while you can. Now, how is he supposed to trust you if I don't trust you? If you'll excuse me, I have work to do. I need to collect 5 pod bits.
Kishashi wants us to gain the trust of both her and someone by the name of Ranar Joe, as apparently they need a hero of some sort at this settlement. Kishashi drops an obvious hint that she needs 5 pod pits collected for her work, so we go out of our way to do that for her with the nearby water root pods. Once all 5 are collected, we return back to her and hand them over.
Yes? Oh, look, you have some pod bits. I need 5 of those myself. How kind of you. When I'm restored to my rightful place, I will give you a palace in the clouds. Or was that a palace made of clouds? Either way, you will have a piece of blue sky. Yes, of course he can trust you. Give him this spoon. He'll know what it means. I once killed a minotaur with that spoon. It's a mighty Daedric artifact.
Kishashi now trusts us and hands us an old spoon that she says will gain the favor of this Khajiit Ranar Joe. We wait a couple of hours and see him walking around the settlement of Felmore. We speak with him about needing a hero.
Did you talk to Kishashi? I can't trust you if she doesn't. It's nothing personal, really. It's just that everyone else is out to get me. Wouldn't surprise me if you were here spying on me for you-know-who. Did Kishashi send you with something? A certain utensil or weapon, depending on who you ask. Let me see that. Give it here. Where did you get this? This belongs to Kishashi. Did Sindanwe send you to steal this? How did you get this from Kishashi? Oh, then she must really trust you. Still, I better hold on to it just in case. Sindanwe is always trying to hurt my sweet Kishashi. Wouldn't want a slave driver to get her hands on this spoon. Well, I suppose I can trust you. You did bring me the spoon. Sindanwe is pure evil. She must be stopped at all costs. However, she knows everything about all of us. Keeps notes about everything. Everything. She knows so much about us that she can read our minds. But she doesn't know about you yet. So, you must do it. Get rid of her. Get rid of Sindanwe. Well, there's the obvious way. But don't let us see you do it. Sheogorath has 1,000 eyes and ears. Or you could make her life so miserable that she leaves us alone. She needs everything just so. So sneak into her house and wreck the place. And confiscate her notebook. She carries it wherever she goes, recording all our secret thoughts. I need that book. My thoughts belong to me. Watch yourself while you're here. Sindanwe is out for us. She cares for nothing but work, and she keeps us as slaves.
According to Raynar Jo, Sindanwe, the High Elf Overseer of Felmore, is a rather evil lady and practically keeps the Khajiit here as slaves. We're tasked with either killing her or simply making her life miserable. We decide to speak with her directly to find out more.
Interruption! Be quick, please. I have a farm to run. It isn't going to run itself now, is it? We are a farming community. Nothing more, nothing less. That is when I can get these layabouts to actually put in a day's work. Relin is the only one around here worth a damn, and that's only because he loves to kill his pests. How do you know about that? It's private. I don't trust you enough to talk about it.
Before we make a decision, there's one more person at the settlement who we decide to talk to, a red guard named Relin.
Relin, it is I who kills. It is I who hunts. It is I who keeps the fields and farms clean for Sindanwe. Clean of vermin. Clean of the things and people who would take our crops and eat them with their nasty, nasty teeth. I wish I had more teeth. Great big fangs on my arms and legs to eat them before they eat us. Sindanwe thinks she tough lady. Not as mean as Relin. She okay. She let Relin kill things that need to be dead. Relin like biting off heads. It's nice here. Lots of pests for Relin. Lots of blood.
So now it's time to make a decision. How to best dispose of Sindanwe. We decided to go the route of making a mess in her house to see how that unfolds. We broke into her home and started throwing around all of her food, silverware, platters, bottles, magical items, etc. We got a quest update when enough was enough, and then we tracked down Sindanwe to see her enter her home. Sindanwe is clearly in distress about the mess, and that's how we know our work is done.
Can't you see I'm busy? My house. So orderly. And now this. Where do I even begin? How do you know about...
As for the secondary part of this quest, Sindanwe's notebook, we have options here as well. The easiest would be to kill her and loot the notebook off of her body, or you could avoid bloodshed and pickpocket the book off of her as well. We chose the latter and successfully got the notebook back. If you raise her disposition past 70 and ask her about said journal, she will also agree to loan it to us, which works as well. The notebook is rather interesting actually. It reads almost like a set of poems and really doesn't make a lot of sense. There also really isn't any mention of harming either of the Khajiit in here, at least from what I could decipher. Here are just a few lines from the notebook. The sun listens to my greenness, but where did the moon frown? The sky is empty of children, and the earth eats strawberries. Yet, why do the worms taste of bitter plum? Everyone is bereft of spores, or the spores have devoured us all, and we are left with nothing. Or everything is inside us, though we find ourselves swimming in rock, where strange things remain and known things fall outside of their own selves, let alone from each of us. Why play the paintbrush against her? She always stands close to being far away. And what of the farm then? Shall it twinkle in the breeze of lyricism? How should I know? What I do know is this. The grass drinks flower dust like a glass bead swallowed tastes nothing like water. And furthermore, wherever one finds the absence of something, that something surely exists someplace else. Or else, how could it be absent? There is wisdom in this. Regardless, Notebook in possession and Sindanwe taken care of, we can go back over to Ranar Joe and speak with him.
Have you accomplished the mission? That should keep her occupied. She'll spend months putting everything back in place. Thank you for your help. Here, take these. I was using it to ward off Sindanwe's evil mind control magic. I don't need it now. Excellent. Let me see that. Aha! It's right here, written in her own hand. She is planning to murder us all. I knew it. I'll hold on to this. You don't want to get caught by the authorities with it, do you? I suppose I should give you something in exchange. Here, this book might be of use to you. Now leave before someone sees us talking. Go. Go.
We quickly go outside to speak with Kashashi about her liberation.
Thank you for helping us overthrow the tyrant. But you must understand that as queen, I'm very busy ruling over the Shivering Isles. Run along.
We're rewarded with an enchanted ring called the Ring of Mind Shielding, which has the enchantments of Reflect Spell and Resist Magic for 10%, as well as a skill book for Restoration, 2920 Rain's Hand Volume 4. Thus ends the quest, everything in its place. The next settlement quest is titled Ghosts of Vitharn. We can begin this quest by wandering around New Sheoth and inquiring about any rumors. If we're lucky, someone might tell us about a supposed haunted settlement named Vitharn. Vitharn is located south-southeast of Felmore, as well as south-southeast of Blackwash Camp. Fast traveling to the latter and making our way over, we arrive at Vitharn and notice something peculiar. Two ghosts are fighting each other. Just then, we receive a quest update saying that we should look for a way into the keep, as seemingly, the main entrance is completely blocked off. There are two groups of ghosts fighting each other. The ones with the blue tint around them are called Vitharn Ghost Soldiers and are seemingly the defenders of the keep. And the ones with a green tint around them are called Ghost Fanatics. They are what look like the attackers of the keep. Wandering around the exterior of the fort, we see more ghosts battling it out. Interestingly, when the Vitharn soldiers are wiped out, the Ghost Fanatics turn hostile towards us and begin attacking. We see that the entrance is blocked off by some magical enchantment, and we look around for an alternative way in. Just around one of the walls, there's a massive tree that has a secret entrance to Vitharn burrowed into its roots. Entering inside and making our way through the secret passageway, we must fight our way through multiple Ghost Fanatics who are patrolling Vitharn's sump. Eventually, we find our way to the entrance of Vitharn Keep and enter inside. We wander for a brief bit before a non-hostile ghost comes up to us and begins speaking.
I am Count Sirion. What does the mighty Lord Sheogorath need here among the shades of Vitharn? Have you come to mock us? Arrogant fool! I curse you to remain trapped here with the shades of my people. As we are doomed to eternally relive the last moments of our failed attempts to save our keep, so shall you eternally watch us.
Depending on the answer we picked, Sirion has different responses that furthers this quest. We picked the answer that makes more work for ourselves, so we decide to try the other option.
Wisely answered. My people and I are in need. Maybe you can help us. Centuries ago, Vitharn was overrun by fanatics. We were soft and failed to defend ourselves. I was the weakest of all. Now, the shades of my people are cursed by Sheogorath to repeat the final moments of their failures. over and over again. You must help us break the cycle of torment. Help my people overcome their weakness and defend Vitharn from the fanatics. Walk among them. There were 4 who failed to protect the gate lever. Find out what they did wrong and help them correct it. You can put away your sword in these halls. Unlike the defending spirits, within these walls none will war with you, not even the fanatics.
Count Sirion needs our help to break free of this never-ending curse. We're instructed to speak to the ghost citizens of Vitharn in hopes of correcting the mistakes they made on that one fateful day. The citizens within the halls have some sort of snobby and mightier-than-thou attitude, looking down on the soldiers defending the gates outside. Speaking of which, our next destination is outside in the courtyard. We see that there's a garrison of soldiers waiting for the attackers to come. The invaders do, and they massacre the whole squadron outside, charging into the keep and laying waste to its people. Our quest marker points us to multiple people out here, so we talk with the first one, Hlövull Dreth.
Power! I need power! Unless you can give me the magicka to help these soldiers get out of my way. The fanatics? What's to understand? They were just after my power. But it's mine, all mine. They wanted me to convert Vitharn, but I fooled them. I put them on the list. Oh yes, they're on the list now. Because we refused to convert, they lay siege to Vitharn. If they had agreed to let me rule, I would have helped them. But now, they're on the list.
Hlövull's magic is very low in this sequence, and because of that, he was helpless for the defense. Our quest updates and says that maybe we should look for some magical items to help boost his powers. Wandering back inside of the keep, we head to the chapel area and push a button in the corner of the room. A false wall collapses, and inside of that room, we can actually find a ghostly artifact on a bookshelf called the Dagger of Depletion. With the dagger in our inventory, we make our way back over to Hlövull and speak with him.
The citizens are in my way. Should I kill them? No, too bad. If only I had more magicka, I could kill the fanatics and then rule this town. Yes, I can use this to charge my magicka. All I need is a source, someone nearby, someone with magicka, someone on the list. Someone like you. No need to thank me for letting you give me your power. I deserve it after all.
Hlövull stabs us with the dagger, completely draining our magicka while totally replenishing his. This act corrects Hlövull's mistakes on that day. The next ghost we can speak with is beside Hlövull, Deseratus Annius.
My betrothed! I must save her! Hlövull healed my betrothed once. Then he ran out of magic. He said he needed to find someone to lend him some before we could help her more. We tried to gather the townsfolk into the keep, but it was too late. I barely had time to find my betrothed and get us inside. The gate was closed behind us. I heard the townsfolk pounding on the gate, but not for long, because then the screaming began. I'm supposed to defend the courtyard against the fanatics. I'm supposed to stop them from getting inside the keep.
Annius runs into the keep as soon as the fanatics make it through the gates, apparently running inside to fetch his betrothed. We go back inside of the keep and follow our quest marker to a small side room which appears to be the barracks. Here, on one of the hanging beds, we find a ghostly doll laying down and pick it up. This is apparently Annius's betrothed whom he was so destined to save from the attackers. Bringing it back to Annius sounds like this.
Please! I must find my betrothed! My beloved. I'll carry her away to safety. Should the fanatics get her, I would have to kill them all!
Annius actually returns the doll back inside if we choose to give it to him, meaning we have to go and retrieve the doll again. It's here we think of another way to try and make him stand his ground. what we can actually do is interact with one of the attacking fanatics and give Annius' betrothed over to them, putting her in the hands of the enemy. This enrages Annius and prompts this dialogue.
Please! I must find my betrothed! She's in the hands of the fanatics! I must save her! Stand back, stranger! I need room to swing my sword!
Annius now stands his ground and fights for the people of Vitharn, correcting the mistakes he made on that day. The final soldier we need to speak to outside is an archer named Althil.
1, 2, 3. I need my arrows. 5, 7, 11. I can't get them. 13, 17, 19. If I leave, who will keep up the count? 23, 29, 31. 09. Ah, the doll. Poor Desideratus. 15. Fanatics killed his whole family. 6. That doll is all he has left of them. 5594. 05. Clovo is our priest and healer. 77. Unfortunately, he was born with stunted magicka, but not a stunted ego. 21. He does the best he can, but he never seems to have enough magicka. 56. 161. I was the first to spot the invaders. 803. I was on patrol when I saw their skirmishers marching toward Vitharn. 398. I rode back as fast as I could to tell Count Syrian of the danger. 874. He went and hid. 989. 1411. I must guard the lever that opens the gate. 94. If the gate is opened, the fanatics will overrun Vitharn.
Althil needs her arrows to defend the gate wheel from the attackers, but didn't have any as she needed to continue the count, and the armorer refused to give them to her. We head back inside of the keep, locate the armory key on a nearby table, and seek out Batgro Orkel, the selfish orc armorer, and speak with him.
I am Batgro Orkel, warden of the armory. If you need weapons or armor, I've got them. So what you're saying is you really need these arrows? Go ahead, take them. What would I want them for?
He doesn't hand over the arrows, however, and when we go around the back to grab them, he teleports us back to the front. We have to be quick or sneaky and lunge for the arrows fast or quietly enough before being sent away. Once we have the arrows, we can bring them to Althil and have her in fighting shape.
3, 1, 4. Without any arrows, I'm useless in this battle. 1, 5, 9. But if I leave to get them, who will count? 2, 6, 5. 2, 7, 1. You have arrows. 8, 2, 8. Now, let the battle be joined. 1, 8, 2. Why aren't you counting? 8, 4, 5.
All of the soldiers who failed in battle that day have had their mistakes corrected, yet they still get overrun by the fanatics, so something is still going on. We head back inside the keep and speak with Count Syrian.
I feel something different. The curse feels lighter somehow. The defenders of the gate were not the only ones to fail their town. My greatest shame is that I was struck by cowardice and fled. Like my people, I am doomed to repeat the actions of my cowardice. Alone, I cannot redress this wrong. However, you can. Take my helm. With it, you can take my place in the defense of the gate. Defeat the devoted fanatic in combat, and the curse will be lifted. Be warned, though. While you wear the helm, it is as if you are one of us. You are trapped in these ruins until you lift our curse.
Count Syrian left his post that day too, and is ashamed of his actions. He gives us his helmet and asks us to go in his place to the battlefield, and finally break the curse once and for all. We're given his Enchanted Madness helmet, which has an armor rating of 6.75, and the enchantments of Fortified Block and Heavy Armor for 9 points each. We walk back out into the courtyard and see that one of the attackers is no longer a ghost, but an actual physical being. The devoted ghost fanatic wears Madness armor and fights well. They despawn once all of the other soldiers are dead, but respawn in when the cycle restarts with all of the damage still dealt to them. Eventually, we slay the ghost and the curse of Vitharn is lifted.
You have lifted the curse. All of Vitharn thanks you, Lord Shergoran. You may keep my helmet. It never did me much good.
The ghosts have been laid to rest, both the fanatics and the Vitharn soldiers, and the exits in and out of the keep are usable again. We're allowed to keep Count Sirion's helmet as a reward, and with that, thus ends the quest, Ghosts of Vitharn. The next settlement quest is titled The Great Divide. We find ourselves discovering a strange little town called Split. On one side, we see citizens conversing, drinking, and being social with one another. However, where it gets odd is that on the opposite side of town, we see the exact same citizens doing the exact same things, almost like there are doubles of everybody. We wander on over to one of the residents, a Khajiit named Atrabi, and speak with her.
Someone should write a book about the problems we're having with our doubles here in Split. I can't concentrate on my reading with that other version of me walking around. It's terrible. A curse. Talk to Horkvir, our Horkvir. He's in charge. He'll know what to do.
She confirms our suspicions that there are doppelgangers of every citizen in town. We speak with Horkvir Barearm to hear the story.
I'd get more work done if it weren't for my layabout double living in town. Terrible drain on productivity. Never know who's who. It's been a problem for too long. A wizard did it, stupid layabout mage. Had a theory about each of us having a manic and demented side. He decided to test the theory, cast a spell, split us all in two. Do we get twice the work done? No. Ridiculous. We're not allowed to take care of it either. There are rules. And I don't want to end up on the hill of suicides. You, on the other hand... Get rid of that demented bunch. Useless anyway. Don't get a lick of work done around this town. If you get rid of them, I'll make it worth your while. Too much thinking, not enough work getting done. Fine, you think it over, but stay away from the other me, that demented Horkvir. He'll try to offer you the same kind of deal, that handsome devil, but he can't be trusted. Make the right decision.
There are seemingly two sides of Split, a dementia side and a mania side, each housing the same citizen with different personalities. We wander over to the dementia side and speak with the other Horkvir.
My double is always working. It takes all my energy just watching him work. It's got to stop. It's a problem, all these doubles walking around. And it's tiresome. Didn't used to be like this. Some blasted mage had a theory. They've always got theories. He thought there was a manic and a demented in each of us. So what does he do? What else? Casts a spell. You can see how well that went. Two of each of us walking around this place. Nothing we can do about it either. There's a law about that here. Been to the Hill of Suicides? Not a nice place, but you might be able to help. Only one group can stick around. Either we demented or those blasted manics. It's the only way we'll find any peace. You get rid of those manics, all of them. If you can take care of that for me, I'd make it worth your while. Yeah, whatever. This whole conversation has worn me out. Just stay away from the other Horkvir. He might offer you the same deal, but that guy is crazy. Trust me.
Now it's time to pick which of the Horkvirs to side with. I like the work ethic of the first Horkvir we spoke to, seemingly the manic Horkvir, so we went back to him and told him we'd side with them.
Made up your mind yet? There's work to be done. Good. A little hard work will do you some good. Just get rid of those demented freaks, and we'll all be happier. And stay away from us manics. You kill any of us by accident, you won't be getting anything from me. You should be taking care of this, shouldn't you?
So now it's time to murder half of the town. There are 5 citizens we need to take care of. The easiest way to do it is to walk over in broad daylight and start slashing away. Interestingly, the citizens from both sides are intermingled and socializing with one another, so it's not like the manics stick to one side and the demented stick to the other. Everyone was outside except for one citizen, whom we went into their house and struck them down. This way certainly works, however, it does count as murder as the other citizens of Split, the ones who we aren't killing, see us. So, to avoid being seen, it's recommended to wait until nightfall and sneak into the corresponding houses. Here, we can kill all of our targets without being seen and achieve the same results. Once everyone is taken care of, we can return back to the Horkvir we sided with and speak with him about our reward.
Hey, don't you have work to do? Like getting rid of those demented bastards? Got all of them, did you? Good work. I promised you a reward, and here it is. Now go find some other work to do, you layabout. Looks like you've taken care of it. Good work. Now go find something else to do.
We receive a leveled amount of gold, in our case 600, and with the deaths of half of the citizens in Split, thus ends the quest, The Great Divide. The next settlement quest is called Taxonomy of Obsession. We begin by finding ourselves at the settlement of High Cross. High Cross is located northeast of Dunroot Borough and northwest of Abroka. Here, we will come across some villagers. Speaking with both, runs in circles and Bruscastanis to get some information sounds like this.
Going to stand there? Ah, a stranger in town. But as I always say, a stranger is just a friend I haven't met yet. Hey, friend, do you think you could help me out? I'm caught a bit short at the moment. Anything at all would be much appreciated. Thanks a lot. She doesn't like it when I run through her plants. All she seems to care about is collecting plants and animals.
Your lips to his ears. She is obsessed with collecting plants and animals. I'd steer clear of her. Now, do you mind moving? I need to sweep there.
We hear about this Mirrorly and her research, but don't necessarily get a quest update about it. We seek out Mirrorly herself, who can either be found around the exterior of the village, foraging for ingredients, or inside of her home, resting during the nighttime.
Speak, madman. My work is far too important to trust to you.
We grease her up a bit with some septums and ask again about her research.
Handsome. I'll take that, and thank you very much. You're offering to help me with my research? Well, I suppose I could find a use for you, despite your lack of training. Here's the list of things I need. Get me everything on it. Try to remember where you found it so you can tell me. It's important. Do you have any new items from the list? Excellent. I'll just take them. These are perfect for my research. Thank you. Now go. Shoo.
We agree to help Mirrorly with her research on ingredients. The list she requires is a long one, with 26 different ingredient samples needed. Lucky for us, a few of them can be found in and around the village of High Cross. Alocasia fruit can be found to the left of her house, just outside of her door. Aster bloom core is growing on the archway of Bruscastanis' house. Hidnum azure giant spore can be found on the large mushroom tree between Mirrorly's house and Bruscas' house. And worm's head cap can be found growing outside of Mirrorly's house on a rock to the right of the bottom of her stairs. The other ingredients are as follows: black tar, blister podcap, congealed putrescence, digestive slime, elytra ichor, flame stalk, fungus stalk, gas bladder, gnarl bark, grumite eggs, houndtooth, hunger tongue, pod pit, rot scale, scale and fin, screaming maw, shambles marrow, swamp tentacle, thorn hook, void essence, watcher's eye, and withering moon. Once all of the ingredients have been collected, we can return back to Merely for our reward.
I don't care if you are Lord Sheagorath. I hate being interrupted in my work. I assume this is important. Remind me to ask you about my bestiary. In the meantime, what have you found for me? Excellent. I'll just take them. These are perfect for my research. Thank you. Now go. Shoo!
We trade the 10 ingredients for 10 gold each, and she dismisses us, but not before telling us about the bestiary she's working on. We speak with her again to inquire more about it.
I really must thank you. Chapters 23 and 48 of my taxonomy are now complete thanks to your effort. Please, take this as a token of my gratitude. My bestiary? Oh, yes, I want to start one. I'd like a ballywog to begin with. You just get it close to me, and I'll take care of subduing it. I might accidentally kill it. If that happens, just bring me another. Once I have it, I'll make sure it's worth your while. I have some spells I can sell you if you have no way to command the beasts yourself. Remind me to ask you about my bestiary. In the meantime, what have you found for me? Excellent. I'll just take them. These are perfect for my research. Thank you. Now go. Shoo! I don't care if you are... Unfortunately, your pathetic illusion skill makes that idea useless.
You'll have the confirmation that all of the ingredients have been handed in when she mentions that chapters 23 and 48 are completed for her taxonomy book. The bestiary request pops up when we've handed over at least a few of the ingredients, and both tasks can take place simultaneously. A certain amount of ingredients need to be handed in order to be tasked with bringing her more beasts. Now it's time to help her with her bestiary. Our illusion skill is very low, and so is our total magicka, so anything she has to offer us won't help. We have to do things the old-fashioned way. Baiting the ballywog all the way back to High Cross, we bring it in within the village limits, and Merely comes to our side. We have to be careful, however, as if the other villagers see the ballywog, they'll attack it until it's dead, leading us to starting over. Alternating between attacks and paralysis spells, it only takes one successful illusion spell to catch and tame the beast.
You've caught me a ballywog. I can't wait to study it. Let's go inside and I'll pay you.
We follow her inside and get our reward.
This is a wonderful start for my new bestiary. Well worth the price. Here you go. I suppose it is about time for me to add another creature. I have hopes for an elytra. If you see one, could you bring it around for me?
Now we're tasked with finding her an elytra. This is where the quest takes a very buggy turn. For starters, Merely and runs in circles will constantly come up to us and randomly begin a conversation.
Hey, got any apples or... What? What did you say? What did you say?
But nothing important comes of it, just leading to distractions. The most irritating bug, however, is that Merely will become stuck inside of her home after we're paid for the ballywog. The only way to get her out is to either attack her or to carefully engage in conversation with her just after she rewards us by running outside before she speaks to us again. We chose the route of the former, which worked well at first, as she focused on attacking the elytra instead of us when she saw the beast.
An elytra? They're tricky. I'll make sure to magically bind this one to me. Let's go to the house to get your reward.
My feet hurt so bad. I could sure use a new pair of shoes. Can you help me out, please? What? What did you say? What did you say? Me.
I'm very excited to have an elytra. Here's your pay. I'm getting weary of the same two beasts. All they do is scream when I experiment on them. Do you suppose you could get me a gnarl?
We're rewarded, and now she wants us to bring her a gnarl. We pop her in the face again and run outside to bring the beast to her. But this time, she's more interested in attacking us than she is the gnarl. This is where the quest can turn really sour, as if you can't calm her down, she will fight you to the death, die, and make this quest not completable. Once she's calm, she subdues the gnarl and speaks again with us.
A gnarl? You've earned your reward. Follow me. Here you go, bounty hunter. I can't wait to begin playing with my living tree. I don't care if you are Lord Sheagorath. I hate being interrupted in my work. Yes, I know. They're all looking quite tiresome. A scalon would sure spruce things up a bit, don't you think?
We're now tasked with bringing her the final beast, a scalon. Scalons aren't found outdoors until level 9, so it's best to beat at least this level before trying to get one. Once we have one, and it's subdued, we can speak with Merely one last time.
This scalon looks a bit mangy, but I suppose it will do. Your reward is in the house. You have proven to be quite the hunter. Take your bounty. You've earned it. My collection is complete. Thankfully, you won't be interrupting me anymore.
Merely sort of thanks us for helping her, and then dismisses us again. We're paid out our final reward of gold, and are now finished with the very buggy quest. The beasts can be seen in their respective pens on either the northwest or southwest side of High Cross. Thus ends the quest, Taxonomy of Obsession. The final settlement quest for this list is titled To Help a Hero. This quest begins by us stumbling into the small village of Hale. Hale is northwest of Milkar and east of Cylarn. Here, we'll see 3 houses lined up, and one of them has a red guard named Pike sitting outside and reading. We approach and speak to him.
It's good to meet you. The name's Pike, and I welcome you to my humble home. Please, make yourself comfortable. Since you're here, I was wondering, do you think you could assist me? I'm having a bit of a crisis. Well, this is a bit embarrassing, so forgive me. I was a knight of the Thorn from Cyrodiil. As soon as I heard the gates to the Shivering Isles opened, I knew a threat was lurking inside. I made my way here and began exploring this strange place. As I was passing Fetid Grove, I was waylaid. Some dastardly Grummites stole my most prized possession, my medallion that signified my membership in the Knights. Yes, I admit that being a Knight of the Thorn no longer holds any interest for me. I've found a new kind of comforting inner peace here away from the chaos of Cyrodiil. I'm tired of the battles and the politics. But most importantly, I've met the woman of my dreams. If I had to leave Zoe, I think I'd be the loneliest man alive. So you see, everything I want is right here in this beautiful place. Even though I never intend to be a knight again, that medallion represents an important part of my past. It's the only piece of my history that validates who I am. Anyway, enough of my banter. So will you please help me get back my medallion? Fantastic! I will mark Fetid Grove on your map. Good luck to you, friend. I hope you're back with some good news. I could certainly use it. Yes, we are based out of Cheydinhal. Our leader, Farwell Indaris, is the son of the Count of Cheydinhal, Andal Indaris. As Farwell is fond of saying, we strike fast and true as lightning. He tends to overstate things a bit, but he means well. If you're ever in Cheydinhal, be sure and look us up. We have a lodge just outside the city gates.
Interestingly, Pike was a Knight of the Thorn in Shadenhall back in Cyrodiil and served under the Count's son and the band's leader, Farwill. He wants us to retrieve his medallion in Fetid Grove, which we agree to help with. Now, perhaps even more interesting, there is not a soul in or near the village other than Pike. He mentions his lover, Zoe Mullane, but she is nowhere to be found, not even in her own home. Neither are the other residents of Hale, Hallion, or Tall Trees Falling. There was a hulking Scalen wandering the pathway leading out of the village, and maybe that might be the culprit, but there are no bodies around or anything of the sorts. Regardless of the unscripted disappearances, we make our way to Fetid Grove, which is just due north of the settlement split. Inside, we face off against Grummites, exactly as Pike said we would, as those are what ambushed him and stole his medallion. There are two ways to get into the second zone, which is where the medallion is being held. The first doorway we happen to come across pretty quickly. However, this entrance into the encampment leads us through a long narrow pathway, completely open and vulnerable to the Grummite archers above. By taking the second and further entrance, we pop out on the upper levels and face off against a few Grummites before spotting the chest that contains Pike's medallion. We secure the jewelry and leave Fetid Grove. Making our way back to Hale and speaking with Pike for our reward sounds like this.
Any word on my medallion? Wait a moment. If you'll pardon my manners, you reek of the bogs. You must have been to the Fetid Grove. My medallion. Ha! I don't know how to thank you. I have decided to stay here in the Shivering Isles. I've found peace here, and I see no reason to return. Therefore, I'll not be needing this anymore. Please take it as a reward.
We give him back his medallion, and Pike hands us his Thorn Shield as a reward. The Thorn Shield has an armor rating of 13.5 and has the enchantments of Fortify Block for 17 points and Reflect Spell for 18%. The village is still empty, which is quite unfortunate as Pike's partner, Zoe, has a lot of unique dialogue to offer for this quest, particularly pushing us to help Pike out of his slump and back into the proud, happy person he used to be. She even has back and forths with Pike, reaffirming their love for one another, but we may never get to see that. Thus ends the quest to help a hero. Moving on to the non-journal quests, we have a short and sweet one called the Paranoid Roof Watcher. We begin back in the district of Crucible. Here, we make our way onto the local roofs by jumping from the stairs leading to New Sheoth onto Ushnar's property. Using a little bit of acrobatics, we can jump our way to the tallest roof on the northern side of the district and find something called a Sunken Urn Key, as well as a faded note. The note reads, "I don't think I'll live much longer. My wine supply is thinning, only one bottle left. Bernice's wine is worthless. I would have lasted longer on Gnarlbark. I'd go back home to resupply, but Brithaur, that maggot, has stolen my house. It's not just him though, it's all the others. I can't leave the safety of the roof. They have a plan for me. I see it in their eyes. Caldana, Errol, Cutter, all of them. They don't know I'm up here, watching. Not much longer though. At least they won't find me or my stash. I've put all my favorite things in an urn and sunken it in the sewage near the back of Bernice's dive. I think I'll drink that last bottle to celebrate. Using the instructions and the key, we can locate this hidden treasure and take its contents for ourselves. Hopping across the rooftops and jumping down behind the upper level of sickly Bernice's tap house, we see a smashed crate just at the edge of the mucky waters and behind the railing. Wandering over and looking inside of it, we see the sunken urn is there, and we use the key to open it. In here, we see some jewelry, some wine, some ingredients, some miscellaneous items, and finally, 195 gold. That's pretty much the end of the line for this quest. Hopping to the other sections of the rooftops in Crucible, we'll find other items scattered around. Perhaps the best one might be a Ring of Light, but with that, thus ends the quest, the Paranoid Roof Watcher. The final quest on this list, which also happens to be non-journal, is called Ghosts of the Hill of Suicides. The Hill of Suicides has been brought up several times during this video, mainly in the context that no one wants to end up there. The Hill of Suicides has its own heading on our map and is located east of Zaselm and west of Zirathard. The Hill of Suicides is where the souls of those who took their own life go to live out the rest of eternity in solitude and anguish. Sheogorath has set it up as a means of punishment for anybody who chose to avoid their fate and end their life early. The hill has 5 ghosts on it. These ghosts cannot speak or interact with any being, humanoid or not, as they're cursed to isolation. Now, this is where the quest actually becomes a quest and gets rather interesting and clever. Adventuring the ruins, forts, and caves of Cyrodiil, we may come across the remains of people unknown to us, but these skeletons, more specifically skulls, can actually be used to free the souls on the Hills of Suicide. First, we seek out the remains of Loren's Bogtrotter. His skull can be found in the Lost Crypt zone of Naughty Bramble. Underneath one of the preserved zealots laying on the altars is a button that lowers a false wall. Entering inside of this hidden room, we'll see the skeleton of Loren's, which we can retrieve his decayed head and add it to our inventory. Next, we can look for Gadiniri Ralval's remains. Inside of the Chantry zone in Knife Point Hollow, we'll enter into a room in the northeast area of the zone. This room will have 2 columns on either side of the altar. The northern column has a button on it that, when pressed, will lower a false wall that leads us to the skull of Ralval placed atop a chest. Then, we can look for Limark's remains. Entering into the Zeetram zone of Milkar, we navigate our way through the tight halls and powerful enemies to get to a corridor that becomes elevated and almost impossible to continue down. Right before the elevation, we'll see a skeleton in a pool of blood laying on the ground. We grab the skull as it belongs to the tormented soul of Limark. Next, we can locate Salonia Viria's remains. Entering into the amphitheater of Cannes, directly west of High Cross, we make our way through the dungeon and end up in a small dead-end room. Going down the stairs and facing off against 2 heretics, we'll find the skull resting on a corner piece amongst some candles and screaming maw. Finally, we can locate Madesi's remains. Madesi's skull can be found in the Sanctum zone of Rotten Den, a large cave south of Felmore. The cave has quite a lot of traps and enemies, so it's advised to exercise caution with this one. Making our way through the tunnels, we find ourselves in one last big room. Here, a statue is firing off destruction magic to random areas within, and right underneath it, resting on a chest, is Madesi's skull. Once we have all 5 skulls, we can return to the Hill of Suicides to free the souls. However, before we do, we take a pit stop at one of the ghost's relatives' house. Erever Devani of Deep Wallow is the brother of Gadiniri Ralval. Speaking with him sounds like this.
No, you're not one of them. Still, you've no business being here. And if you see them, tell them Erever is ready and waiting. I know they're coming. They'll come for you, like they came for my sister. Put her on the Hill of Suicides. You found Gadiniri's skull? Take it to her at the Hill of Suicides, before they find out you've got it.
His message is a little cryptic, but we can hear a little more once we return the skulls to their owners at the hill. We fast travel over and interact with each ghost. The skull is removed, and they give us a blessing of Fortify Fatigue for 100 points for 1,200 seconds. Once all of the souls have been saved, we're rewarded with the greater power called Risen Flesh, which reanimates a dead body on touch for 60 seconds. Returning back to Erever and speaking with him sounds like this.
Why are you here again? You'll only draw attention to us. Give them one more reason to attack. You've done a great service freeing my Gadiniri. Thank you. Maybe you can help the others. Watch out for them.
Now, he did shed some insight on the hill, but it didn't really make too much sense, and that's because we should have spoken with him before retrieving Ralval's skull, as he offers connecting dialogue. He says, "It's where you end up if you don't die according to his plan. They will drive you to it, like they did poor Gadiniri. I loved her, and then she was gone. By her own hand. It said any soul on the hill can be released if their remains are brought to them. I've heard that those that free the souls become blessed. Can't say for sure. they scatter the remains all over the Isles. This is likely the dialogue that's supposed to lead us on an Easter egg hunt around the Isles for the skulls, as otherwise we would have never known about how to free the souls and how to receive that greater power. With that, thus ends the quest, Ghosts of the Hill of Suicides. That concludes the list of every single side quest featured in the Shivering Isles, from New Sheoth to the settlements, all the way to the hidden non-journal quests. This video just about wraps up our time in the Isles, as now we've completed every single quest for this DLC. We may revisit the Isles one day in the future, as there are a lot of unique and intriguing lore pieces here that we otherwise can't find back in Cyrodiil. However, it's time to head back through the portal and resume our adventure back in Tamriel. Is there anything else you'd like to see for the Shivering Isles in the future? Let me know down below, and until next time, keep on adventuring.